All right, hey, good morning. All right, I apologize if the wind kicks up. It's out of my control. But what we're doing right now is we are working on setting up our solar automatic watering system. So now the first step that we have to do with this is it gives you this this water tube, and pretty much you lay it out where you want to set it. So so now, just for starters though, just so that I kind of have like a little bit of a idea where to start, we're going to input our first stake. Hopefully this works without the hot water, but yeah, it'll be all right. It says you dip the tube in hot water and it'll help, but I think we'll be all right. At least so I can get the first one in. So now this one's actually going to be on that end over there, because I'm gonna put my water barrel on this end over here. But I still got some I still have to prepare the water barrels. So, but want to have it. So you got that's going to be the end piece. And so basically what I'll do is we're going to set it in just like this, right? So it's going to be in like that. Now the next step is, it says scissors, but whatever. So the next step is this, right? So we're going to come over here and we're going to mark it a little bit. So I put a little groove right there. All right. And we're going to come over here. We're going to mark this right here. And basically all I'm doing is I'm marking where I'm going to cut it so that we can get these cut. And then we'll be able to put the T's on to connect the hoses, and then put the spike strips in. So now for these, we actually are going to go in and get a little bit of hot water so that we can put the T's on, and that way we can figure out the rest of this drip system. So basically, if you look at the picture here, right, what we're going to do is you got your T, then you have your spikes. So the water will go through here, it'll drip in. So that's where we're at right now. Don't want to disturb it too much because, well, I'll show you in a minute. But I got the areas marked off. So now I'll be able to get them cut, get them put together, so now we can come out here and we can work on getting our system set up. Hopefully this system is going to help during the summertime when it gets really hot, because I've got like a big plastic trash can which is black, so it's going to prevent, it's not clear, so we're not going to get any buildup like mold or anything, or algae. But what I do need to do, I need to get some silicone, because I'm going to drill a hole in for the hose and the sensor to go in, and then I want to silicone over the holes I drill. I'm going to silicone over that, so that way no mosquitoes can get in there. So I want to keep it as tight as possible. And I'll probably put like a silicone bead around the top rim of the trash can, so that when I actually lock it down, it'll prevent anything from getting in there. We don't want any bugs or anything in our water. So, but the water bucket's going to sit right here, and then hopefully one day I'll have my gutter system, and so then I'll be able to just hook it up. I'll have a gutter so that I can just take the lid off. When it rains, it'll fill up, and then I can close it, and then we're good to go. That way I can harvest what little rainwater we do get here. But just a quick little thing over here. And take it out of the tripod for just a minute. But I didn't show you this last time because there wasn't much to show. But as you can see here, we do have at least one sprout of Swiss chard. This one has 3 in each of our 4 buckets. So those first 4 buckets, that's Swiss chard. So that's already growing. And then out in front, there's a lot of good stuff happening out there. At least 3 of our 5 root vegetables, 3 of the 5 root vegetables are sprouting. So that's a really good thing too. But we're gonna go in, we're gonna get this tube cut up, we're gonna get this put together, and then we're gonna go through that process, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get everything set up. All right, so we moved inside. So as you can see here, so far we've gotten, oops, I'll show you here. So basically, right, so here was our first one, right? And then where we cut it, we put a T in there. We put a T in here, a T in there, a T in there. All right, so now we have our T here. So then basically all you're gonna do is you take your cut hoses and they slide right on really easily. So I don't really see the need for the whole. Then you come back to the end of it. Then you put in your next T all the way down. And you grab your next hose. Put it on the other side of the T. And pretty much you go to the end so it seals up. The T's have holes running through them this way and then out the bottom here. So all we're doing is right now we cut our hose into pieces. Now we're reassembling it with our T's so that we can get the drip system set up. So, and then this is going to make for, you know, much better use of resources. And so looks like we have a couple of, we got extra T's in this too, so, but I'm just setting it up for the 10 buckets right now. And I do plan on, if this does work, if this one works, then I will probably get a couple more of these. And then here we have this. So now then this will be the end of our, or the beginning rather. So now then this T here, this water tube here will go into our water garbage can. And then and then it'll pump it out, it'll come through here, it'll come down here. We just have to cut little tubes for this one. And then once we cut those little tubes to hook to the bottom part of the T section there, then each one of those little tubes is going to have our blue water stake hooked up to it. So it'll come out and it'll be like this, right? And then we put that into the ground, and then as it waters, the water will come through here, and it's pretty much gonna come down this. There's a little groove here on the top. The water will come down through there. It's gonna follow that because it's gonna still follow the drip system, I'm guessing, and then it's gonna just come out through where the tip is. Either way, this is gonna put water, you know, because the water will flow here. It's gonna put water directly to the roots of those plants, which ideally behind this, what it's gonna do is this is going to eliminate a huge portion of dehydration, because most of the water dehydrates from the top of the plant, from the top of the soil. Once it soaks in, it doesn't dehydrate as fast, because and once it soaks in, that's when the roots have a chance to absorb the water. So we put this, it shoots it straight down to the roots. Hopefully this system works. Once I get it all hooked up, you know, we're going to put the inlet hose, outlet hose really, but we're going to hook that onto here. And then hopefully we have enough tubing for all of this, because again, there's only so much tubing. So if not, I'm gonna have to buy more tubing before we can get this set up, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem, because I can just take a piece of the tubing in and say, hey, look, go to Lowe's and I can find, like, you know, the plastic tubing like this, and we'll be good to go. But so far we're coming along pretty nicely. So here we have our, it came with 10 meters, so hopefully that's enough. But here we have our initial hose setup. We'll get those small pieces cut, and then that way, I wish that they actually, you know, yeah, you got to get it all the way down there. But I wish it actually came with, you know, the ends actually had, you know, where it's like the T's plugged into it. But it is what it is. Again, you know, hey, if this works, it's going to save a lot of, watering, you know, and so that way I'm not going to be wasting water, because especially here in the desert, water is a huge commodity. You know, we need water to run everything. But I'll make sure I got enough T's, but I'm pretty sure this was the last one. So, but yeah, there we are. Once we get this all hooked back up, then we're going to get it back out. We'll get it all situated. I still have to get some silicone, so I'm not going to put any water into the system yet. I might put a little bit, just so that we can test it out. But once we get it all set up, then all we have to do is take the lid off, fill the water bucket, however, whether it's from rainwater we've collected or whether it's from the hose. But either way, it's going to be a much more efficient use of our water, and being that it'll be sealed up real good, because that's another reason I want that silicone on there, is so that we can seal it down as good as possible. So once we put the water in, we can reduce the amount of evaporation, you know, because then it's like it condenses. Then when it cools off at night, it'll just, you know, drop down. But yeah, that's it. There's our reconstructed hose, and then we're gonna get outside and we're gonna get this set back up. Okay, so here we got it. All right, so basically I just took a old piece of a bed frame that, you know, we got rid of the bed, and I just zip tied it there, screwed in the base for the solar charger. All right, if you look down here, we've got our water in and our water out, and then this is our alarm, so that we know if the water's low. So, and it'll tell you when it turns on, you'll hear a beep, beep, beep. So, and then what I've done is, I still have to get the silicone. I just put the silicone over this and seal this up. But we have our inlet, strainer. Then we have our sensor probes, and that'll tell us. Then the out hose comes out, and as you can see, I already got it dropped into the kale. The Swiss chard. As soon as I get the tomatoes, we're gonna do 2 tomato plants, 2 bell peppers, and 2 jalapenos. As soon as I got those in there, then we'll get the prongs in there. And then, so then all that's gonna be pretty much automated water, because that's the stuff that's gonna need like the most water. Well, not the jalapenos, right? So we're probably gonna end up doing 2 tomatoes, or 3 tomatoes, 2 bell peppers, and maybe an eggplant. And then I got some other buckets over here. We're probably gonna put a couple jalapenos in, because the jalapenos, they require less water anyway. And so the jalapenos will just be separate from the actual water system. And I'll just water those when I water the rest of the stuff. But as you can see, I got this pot here is gonna be for marigolds. I got the soil in and ready to rock. So in a couple weeks, we're gonna get the seeds in there. And then we have here for more marigolds. And then the pumpkin one is ready. And then over here we got one for cantaloupe and honeydew, right? I've heard, I can already hear people saying it in the back of my head, because I've seen the comments before. Oh, you can't use tires to grow food because, you know, you can poison the plants and everything. But these are probably the same people that use the soaker hoses. And the soaker hoses, look at the ingredients. Most of those soaker hoses are made from recycled tires. So my grandpa used tires. I know people that use tires. Everything was perfectly fine. So it'll help keep it, keep the moisture in, keep it warm when it starts to drop, and then everything's going to be fantastic. So anyway, as soon as I get that that silicone bead in, I'm going to continue this video, and then we will we'll get the water put into the trash can there, and then we'll get it turned on. And of course, on the ones that don't have any water in them yet, we're going to see the water come out of those, so we'll be able to see what it's doing outside of the soil while this stuff's already in the soil getting it watered. So, but anyway, we'll continue this video in a day or two after I get the silicone seal to go over the top.